Imagine thinking you've just exposed a Love Island USA contestant in Vegas, and then your own friend leaks text messages that prove you made the whole thing sound way worse than it actually was. Because that is exactly what just happened in the Love Island Season 7 universe. One TikTok from a so-called spicy club, one caption about a committed relationship, and suddenly people were shouting that Nic and Olandria, yes, Nicolandria, were over. Fans of Ace, Taylor, Cierra, the whole Love Island Huda saga, and everyone who still lives inside Love Island USA drama were convinced this was the proof they'd been waiting for. Proof that Nic, the nice guy, had been exposed. Proof that the dating show couple was fake. Proof that Nicolandria, Nic, and Olandria were just doing it for clout. Except the receipts told a completely different story. Before we dive into all of that, the texts, the lies, the friend who accidentally blew up the entire rumor, hit that subscribe button like it's a last-minute Love Island recoupling and you're trying not to get dumped off the island. It's free, it takes half a second, and you can always change your mind later. All right, let's talk about Nicolandria.
If you've been anywhere near Love Island USA Season 7, you already know the main names by heart. Ace, Nic, Olandria, Taylor, Cierra, the whole Love Island Huda chaos, and the rest of the cast that turned this dating show into a full-time internet job for half the fandom. Nic and Olandria didn't just leave as another couple. They left with a ship name, Nicolandria. They left with people arguing in group chats, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Reddit, on every platform about whether their connection was real, whether producers pushed them, whether Ace should have stayed longer, whether Taylor was done dirty, and whether Cierra deserved better. For some fans, Nic and Olandria are the couple that restored their faith in the show. For others, they're the couple that represents everything wrong with Love Island. People screaming that the relationship is fake, that they're using each other for followers, that it's just a showmance. So you've got this environment where anything that makes Nicolandria look bad spreads instantly. And that's why a random TikTok from Vegas didn't just cause a ripple, it caused a full fandom earthquake.
Enter Destiny. She's a TikTok creator who also works at a club in Vegas. One night, she posted a video. In the clip, you see Nic sitting at a table. In front of him, there's a woman in revealing club wear, the kind of outfit you see all over Vegas bottle service and nightlife. Destiny's caption says something along the lines of, when you're working at a spicy club and see a certain Love Islander who you thought was supposed to be in a committed relationship. That's it. No explicit accusation. No he cheated spelled out. Just a short video, a suggestive caption, and the kind of wording that lets your brain fill in the rest. And the internet did exactly that.
Within hours, people were zooming in on the clip. Some said it was a strip club. Others said it was a private room. People were throwing around phrases like caught red-handed, Nicolandria over, Nic exposed. This proves Love Island Season 7 was a joke. The dating show is rigged. Ace was right, Taylor should come back, and all of the usual greatest hits. Other creators saw the engagement Destiny was getting and started making their own videos. Did Nic cheat on Olandria in Vegas? Is Nicolandria fake? Love Island USA runner-up caught at a spicy club. Views went crazy, comments went crazier, and almost no one stopped to ask the most basic question. What actually is this club, and why is Nic there? Because here's the thing, until you know where the clip is filmed and why he's there, you don't actually know the story. But in the world of fast content, people don't always want the story. They want the scandal.
That's when a Love Island commentator stepped in and did something extremely rare on the internet. He actually investigated before jumping on the trend. Instead of repeating the spicy club narrative, he looked up the name of the venue. And what he found immediately started tearing the cheating storyline apart. First, the club Destiny was hinting at,
It's not some mysterious private strip club hidden in a basement. It's a nightclub, a rave-style spot, big lights, big crowds, bottle service, DJ, the normal Vegas nightlife setup. Second, based on the information available publicly, this place doesn't even advertise private rooms in the way people online were describing. The whole secret private strip club angle wasn't matching reality. Third, the club's own social media told on the rumor. On their story, there was Nic at the same event, clear as day. Except he wasn't hiding in some dark corner doing something secret. He was there for what looked like a brand collab, working with Celsius, taking pictures, doing exactly what reality TV alumni do all the time: show up at events, promote, network, exist.
The woman in Destiny's clip? From all appearances, she was doing her job as part of the nightclub's bottle service staff. And in Vegas, those outfits are part of the uniform. It doesn't automatically mean something scandalous is happening. Just from that basic research alone, the dramatic story in Destiny's caption already looked shaky. But this commentator didn't stop there. He also pointed out something important. Destiny wasn't just some random bystander. She worked there. She knew exactly what kind of place this was. She knew this wasn't some hidden, spicy secret. She knew the context. But instead of explaining that, she decided to phrase the situation in a way that made Nic look like he was doing something shady in a committed relationship. And then, when called out, she tried to walk a fine line.
Once her video blew up and the commentary started rolling in, Destiny went live to clear things up. She said she never claimed Nic was cheating. She said people were putting words in her mouth. She said she was just posting her reality, that people were twisting it, that internet drama had gotten out of control. On the surface, that might sound reasonable, but let's look at what she actually did. If you post a video from your job at what you call a spicy club, and you say you saw a certain Love Islander who you thought was supposed to be in a committed relationship, what do you think people are going to assume? She didn't say, "Hey guys, Nic is at a nightclub for a brand event. Nothing's happening. Chill." She didn't say, "He's literally just sitting there." She chose wording that implies something is wrong. She liked comments that pushed the narrative further. She followed up with content that kept the drama alive. That's not neutral. That's framing. It's a classic move. Imply something heavy, then later say, "Oh, I never actually said that." It gives you the attention of a scandal without the responsibility of making a clear accusation. And she might have gotten away with it, if it weren't for one thing: her friend. This is where the story goes from messy to almost unbelievable. Doing a live stream with the commentator who was fact-checking the story, Destiny's friend, we'll call her CIA like she was called in the texts, came on to defend her. CIA's goal was simple: back Destiny up and argue that everyone was being unfair. Instead, she did the exact opposite. While trying to prove Destiny was telling the truth, CIA sent the commentator screenshots of her private text conversation with Destiny from that exact night in Vegas. And those screenshots completely destroyed the cheating story. Let's go through what the messages actually show, in simple terms. Destiny messages CIA excitedly that Nic from Love Island is in the club. She says she tried to sit with him. Then she says, "He curved me." In other words, he turned her down. He wasn't interested. CIA asks if he's getting dances. Destiny replies that he's not getting dances, that he might actually be being a good boy. So in real time, the night all of this happened, Destiny knew 3 key things. Nic turned her down. He wasn't getting dances. He was just there with friends at a club that hosts branded events. Those are her own words, not fan speculation, not a fan fiction thread, her own messages. On top of that, the text shows CIA telling Destiny that if she filmed him and posted it, it would go viral. And that's exactly what happened.
So when Destiny later went online saying, "I never accused him of cheating, people are twisting it, I was just sharing what I saw," those texts tell a very different story. She knew he had turned her down. She knew he wasn't getting dances. She knew nothing actually happened.
But she posted the video anyway, with a caption that heavily implied that whatever he was doing in that club was not appropriate for someone in a committed relationship. And the wildest part? Those receipts didn't come from some hacker or some secret source. They came from her own friend, who sent them in an attempt to defend her. Who needs enemies when your bestie is forwarding the entire chat log to the person fact-checking you? Twice. By the way, if you're enjoying this breakdown of fandom detective work and the way lies just collapse under group chat screenshots, hit subscribe. It's like free therapy for your reality TV brain, and it lets me keep covering all the Love Island, Nicolandria, Nic and Olandria, Ace, Taylor, Cierra, Love Island, Huda chaos without relying on messy TikToks for content. All right, back to the implosion.
Once those texts were shared and people saw them, the reaction shifted instantly. Fans who had already made videos or angry comments based on Destiny's clip suddenly realized they had been sold a very specific story that didn't match the creator's own private messages. People who support Nicolandria didn't just feel vindicated, they felt like this proved what they'd been saying for months. A lot of the hate toward Nic and Olandria isn't based on real evidence. It's based on people wanting a certain narrative to be true and doing whatever they can to push it. For Destiny, it was rough. People called out the inconsistency. They pointed out how her caption and comments implied one thing while her own texts said another. They highlighted that this wasn't some innocent misunderstanding. It was framed in a way that would obviously cause drama, controversy, and engagement. Let's be very clear here, though. No one should be sending her death threats. No one should be doxing anyone, harassing their family, or turning this into real-life danger. You can call out behavior and still remember there is a real human on the other side of the screen. Drag the narrative, not the person's safety. But from a commentary perspective, it's fair to say this is a textbook example of clout chasing backfiring. Hard. Because once those texts were out, it became almost impossible to defend the idea that this was just a harmless, random post. The messages showed planning. They showed awareness. They showed the intent to go viral. And for Nic and Olandria, it was just another rumor they never asked for.
Now, here's the important question. Why did this rumor spread so fast in the first place? Part of it is simple. Drama sells. Reality TV cheating rumors are the fuel of the internet. But there's something deeper going on too, and it's something every Love Island fan needs to understand. Confirmation bias. If you already believe Nicolandria is fake, that Nic is the clout chaser, that Olandria is only in it for brand deals, then a short clip like Destiny's feels like proof. You see a vague, zoomed-in video. You see a caption about a committed relationship. You see a girl in a revealing outfit. You don't ask questions, you just say, "Knew it!" Because the rumor matches the story you already have in your head. A lot of people have been building entire personalities online around being anti-Nic and Olandria. They go live to drag Nic and Olandria. They stitch every interview. They overanalyze every glance and every Instagram story. They swear Ace was right from day one, that Taylor deserves better, that the Love Island Huda drama was the only real storyline, and that everything after was fake. So when a TikTok pops up that seems to prove Nic is moving shady in Vegas, that group doesn't need evidence. They just need vibes. And Destiny's video gave them exactly that. It plugged right into an existing pipeline of content. Cheating confirmed. Relationship exposed. Dating show couple finally caught. Except when someone actually looked up the club, when someone checked the brand event, when someone read the texts,
the whole thing fell apart. And this is where the lesson kicks in. Not just for this scandal, but for every future Love Island rumor.
Let's treat this Vegas situation as a mini lesson in media literacy for anyone who watches Love Island USA, Love Island Season 7, or any dating show at all. Here are a few questions you should ask yourself the next time you see a clip like Destiny's. 1. What's the context? Where is this happening? Is it a work event, a public event, a private situation? In this case, it was a nightclub that publicly hosts brand appearances. That matters. 2. What do I actually see? In her video, you see Nic sitting. You see someone who works at the club standing in front of him. That is literally all. You don't see a kiss. You don't see anything clearly intimate. You see a moment that could mean 100 different things. 3. What does the creator gain? If posting this will go viral, will get them followers, will get them attention from a fandom they normally aren't part of, that's a motive. That doesn't automatically mean they're lying, but it means you should pause and think before treating it as fact.
What has this creator said privately versus publicly? In this case, privately, Destiny said Nic turned her down. Privately, she said he wasn't getting dances. Privately, she acknowledged he might just be behaving himself. Publicly, her caption suggested something else entirely. 5. Am I being entertained or being informed? Sometimes we confuse the two. A lot of TikTok commentary is entertainment dressed up as truth. And that's fine, as long as we remember that we're watching performance, not a sworn statement. If more people had asked those questions at the start, this whole thing probably would have stayed a random, oh, he's at a club moment, instead of a Nicolandria is over countdown. And honestly, reality TV couples already deal with enough pressure just from being public. They don't need strangers building entire cheating scandals out of thin air just because a caption said the word spicy.
Let's strip this whole thing down to the actual facts we have. Nic is in Vegas. He goes to a nightclub that hosts brand events. He's there as part of a collab with friends, doing what people from Love Island often do after the show. A staff member and clubwear is in front of him, doing her job. Destiny tries to sit with him. He turns her down. He does not get dances, according to Destiny's own texts. Later, she posts a TikTok implying that seeing him in that setting is suspicious for someone in a committed relationship. She and her friend talk about how viral it could go. The clip spreads, people scream cheater, and the internet goes wild. Then the texts come out, the club context comes out, the brand context comes out, and the cheating scandal evaporates. In the end, what's left is honestly kind of boring, and that's the point. The real story is simple. A guy went to work, turned down attention he didn't want, and went home. That's it. But because some people are desperate for Nicolandria to fail, that normal, uneventful night got turned into a narrative that could have seriously hurt their reputations, their mental health, and their relationship. So if you're watching this and you've ever left a comment like, Nicolandria is fake, Nic is definitely cheating, Nic and Olandria are using each other, maybe this is a good time to ask yourself, what am I actually basing that on? Is it real evidence? Or is it a series of clips that feel satisfying because they match the story you already decided you liked? And also, do you really want your online identity to be person who spends all day trying to prove a dating show couple is miserable? Because I promise you, there are better hobbies.
So, what should Destiny do now? In a perfect world, she'd just say it straight. I posted something I shouldn't have. I knew he didn't actually do anything wrong. I framed it in a way that made it sound worse because I knew it would go viral. I'm sorry to Nic, to Olandria, and to anyone who got dragged because of that. Whether she will or not is a different question. Not everyone on the internet is ready for a real apology. Sometimes they just disappear from the narrative. Sometimes they quietly delete. Sometimes they triple down. But for the rest of us,
Viewers, fans, commentators, people who watch Love Island USA, Love Island Season 7, people who care about Ace, Taylor, Cierra, Love Island Huda, Nicolandria, Nic and Olandria, we can at least learn something from this. Don't be the person who spreads a rumor faster than you spread a fact.
Don't be the person who cares more about being right about a couple failing than about whether what you're saying is true. And definitely don't be the friend who sends the entire chat log to the one person who's been fact-checking the story. If you've made it this far into the video, you are officially the kind of viewer I trust with the messy details. So let me know in the comments. What do you think Destiny should do now? Does she owe Nic and Olandria a public apology? Should she step back from the narrative completely? Or is the damage already done? And if you want more deep dives like this, where we actually research things, break down the receipts, and don't just repeat every wild rumor that hits TikTok, make sure you subscribe. Smash that subscribe button like you're voting in the Love Island app at 3 in the morning, convinced your one vote is going to save your favorite couple from getting dumped. It helps a lot, it keeps this channel going, and it tells the algorithm that you're here for the real story, not just the viral mess. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of reality TV drama, the truth usually takes a little longer to load than the rumor. But when it finally arrives, the receipts are worth the wait.